Welcome back, baseball fans. We are halfway through the National League discussion of players in the 1969 box, and we get into the fun and crazy, wacky National League, Mountain Time Zone. All the teams are expansion teams, so we're going to see a wide array of middling talent on display in this video. Plus, we got the Colorado Honey Badgers in the discussion. That's always interesting. We're going to start with, though, the Arizona Diamondbacks, a team that is often perennially near the top, though they had a really lousy year last year and Colorado just thumped them. So that's really the tail of the tape there. The Diamondbacks, first of all, in their system have Don Locke. It's his last chance to get into the league. A great on-base guy, and he has a 2-1 in the outfield, so there is potential there. Again, getting one of these guys pushes more talent into the future of the Carryover League. The Diamondbacks lose Bob Brenly, Brett Butler, Joe Carter. Oh, Ryne Sandberg, the 84 Ryne Sandberg is gone. Claudell Washington, Fernando Valenzuela, Bob Welch, and Tom Underwood. And they weren't that good to start with, right? That's a lot to lose for an expansion team. The biggest loss, of course, is Sandberg, the best second baseman of his era. Brenly was a great catcher, too. Butler was a great defensive center fielder. Fernando was the ace. So that's a lot to lose. Let's go check out the farm system, though. All these expansion teams should have a deep one. You see their nucleus is Jim Lytle, Ed Herman, George Thomas, and Juan Pizarro. Yeah, not much of a nucleus. So here you go. Jerry Robertson. He had a 3.95 ERA and a really bad record for the Expos, who were an expansion team themselves. He's a starter 7. There's no room for a starter 7 on this team. It's just not a fit. Square hole, round peg, whatever you want to call it. They have Dave Boswell and Chuck Dobson. They need a righty reliever. That's just not a fit. Felipe Alou. Here's a nice player here. This is good. This is good news. A 282 hitter. All right. Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of the kind of guy you would imagine being on an expansion team playing the outfield. He could replace Joe Carter. Doesn't have the power of Joe Carter. He could replace, well, Claudell Washington and Brett Butler are left-handed. Yeah, you get the idea. But Alou's better than nothing. All right, Jim Davenport, a slick fielding third baseman with 241. No power at all for third base, though. And they have, I believe, at third base, they have Steve Braun, Paul Popovich, Lowry Howard. Yeah. Yeah. Tommy Dean. No, just... Bill Burback. No. Well, walks and not hits. That's a good sign. Yeah. 141 innings, 112 hits, and 102 walks, 82 strikeouts. Something's not right about this picture. Dave Baldwin. Well, a righty who gets righties out, but that's not hard to do. I don't know what to say. I really don't. Felipe Alou's nice. And, yeah, Don Locke. I don't know. Again, I don't know. It's an expansion team. All these teams have huge holes. Next up, hey, your friendly favorite Colorado Rockies. But they lose Steve Bye-Bye Balboni, Brian Downing, Rich Gedman, his best year, the 24 homer year, -2 arm. Jim Morrison, who was in the All-Star game, had a great year, could play any place in the infield. Dwayne Walker hit almost 300 in a platoon role. Bud Black on the rotation, and Dan Petrie, who won a World Series ring with the Detroit Tigers. They do bring back Ron Reed as their closer, though in this era, Reed in the late 60s, early 70s is a starting pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. So, in essence, Ron Reed can move into the rotation replacing Dan Petrie. So let's see what Colorado can get. They have John Kennedy at third. They have Brant Alea. Look, he was good this year, too. Look at that. Both 69 and 70, Brant Alea had homers on 5 and 6. That's pretty good. Billy Cohen, another good year. He has homers in the 3-6 column. A really lousy Don Money. The good Don Money is currently on Colorado. And this is the Ron Reed card they could use. They have the rights to this guy. That's why you see him here. And he's a starter 7. And he's got a 3.47 ERA in 241 innings. So, boom, put him right into the rotation at the top of it. And now Ron Reed goes from Colorado closer to Colorado ace. How about that, folks? But don't worry. If I find better guys, we can take Ron Reed from 70, 71, or 72. So, this is the farm system of the Colorado Rockies. You'll notice most of it is homers, walks, and strikeouts most of the time. Andy Costco, always known for the home run. Here, yeah, corner outfielder, first base type. 19 homers and 424 at-bats. He could replace Balboni at first base. Daryl Patterson, a ready reliever. Walks a ton of guys. He could replace Ron Reed in the bullpen since Ron Reed has to go to the rotation. Though, 2.86 ERA. Joe Haig, not much there. Don Wirt, not much there. And at third base, they have Sid O'Brien and John Kennedy anyway, so it's not going to be Wirt. Lou Krause, pitcher, a 4.44 ERA. No, I don't think so. Gerald Diamond, a left-handed starter. You don't lose a lefty, though. You lose Reed. Oh, you do lose. You lose Bud Black. Well, we were pretty happy with John Cumberland last year. We could move him into the 3-hole. And this Nyman card, we could get into the team. So, it looks like Andy Costco, that'd be a fun card to have on the Rockies. A lot of power. Sure, I could see him being on the Rockies with Ron Reed. Anyway, it looks better for them than it does for the Arizona Diamondbacks. All right, next up we have Las Vegas, arguably the worst team in all of Strat-O-Matic. 2 players they have in their last crack at it. Bill White had a long, distinguished career. I don't know if we want to get him in the league for one more on-base percentage and defense at first with no power. Let the man retire gracefully. Al Raffo, not much to speak of there either. He's not really going to help you. He's good against righties in relief 3, but we'll see. Anyway, Las Vegas, a really, really, really bad baseball team, loses Al Bumbry, Leon the Bull Durham, Dwight Evans, Carney Lansford, Bill Schroeder, the one who has homers on 3.5 and 3.6 both ways, Ernie Witt, Rick Sutcliffe, the 16-1 Rick Sutcliffe who pitched for the Cubs in '84, and Mark Langston. So the worst team in all of baseball probably lost their 8 best players. This season could be historically awful for Las Vegas. Here's their farm system. And they will bring back Tommy Davis, who they should probably trade, Ron Hansen, the original A-Rod, Ron Herbel, and Jim Rowland. Yeah. I remember those guys from the World Series. And here, in all its grandeur and splendor, is the Las Vegas farm system. Tom Murphy. He will have some good years in the middle 70s. I don't know here, though. He goes in the rotation with a 4.21 ERA. He can at least replace the spot in the rotation of Rick Sutcliffe, though he's nowhere near the pitcher of Rick Sutcliffe. Fred Talbot is a jag, just a guy. Yeah, he's just a guy. He's a pitcher. He pitches baseball. Okay. Rich Nye, left-handed guy. He's a guy. He's just a guy. You know, he pitches baseball. He could no, he can't even replace Mark Langston, no. Ron Stone, no. And Jim Price. A catcher against lefties? I don't know. I don't know what to say. I really don't. This team can go Tom. I mean, I don't know. It's just going to be whatever. They're really going to be horrible. They don't have access to any talent anywhere. They have nobody to trade, and they are going to be at the bottom, which means that the Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks are going to be really good, and maybe both those teams make the playoffs. One other note to mention that on these 4 expansion teams, okay, the real ones, Arizona and Colorado, they had first crack at after the rest of baseball protected 12 guys. Arizona and Colorado got 12 guys, and then Las Vegas and Portland got around to picking guys. The idea was to create a gap between these expansion teams and these expansion teams. And now that the 84 guys who are very good are gone, it will be glaring. Las Vegas and Portland are going to be horrible. So now let's look at Portland, see how horrible they are. Portland will lose Mike Brown, who was okay, he's a corner outfielder against lefties. Chet Lemon, he was their all-star center fielder. He was a 1 with a -1 arm E2. Jim Pankovitz, middle infielder. Terry Poole, great left-handed hitting outfielder who could hit left-handed pitching, known for his 1E4 or 1E0 defense. They lose 3/4 of their bullpen. Don Robinson, Jesse Orozco, a great Jesse Orozco, and Ed Nunez. And the bright spot is they have the rights to Burt Be Home Bly 11, and they really need to. I don't know how you explain it, how you would say it. They need to really gorge the Minnesota Twins in a trade. They have to demolish the Minnesota Twins in a trade so that the Twins can get Burt Bly 11. So we'll see how that goes. Anyway, here's the last expansion team's farm system, Portland. It's a deep one. They have Bob Barton, Ken Boswell, Tony Gonzalez, and Ken Harrelson on their team. That's not really much of a nucleus. So, at least they have a lot of guys. That's a good sign. Steve Barber is a left-hander. The 4.81 ERA. It's not very good. Al McBean, a righty reliever. This is not very good either. Now here's Dave Roberts, and this could be interesting. Dave Roberts has a pretty good career. So in a tricky move, this might be something Portland does. If you sign 69 Dave Roberts, okay, with one crappy year, then you can re-sign him in the future for a 4-year contract and maybe another one. So maybe Dave Roberts' entire career gets launched into Portland. And he has a pretty good career, I think, with Houston during that time. So that would be a nice little trick that they could do. Jerry Kenny. He is available. He played for the New York Yankees. But the Yankees, he's available because the Yankees got Greg Nettles to play third base sooner than they actually made that trade. So Nettles got to New York much sooner, which put Jerry Kenny out on the market. Now, Kenny's a cool little player because he can play third and center and short, and he's left-handed, AAB, 1/16. This guy is exactly what an expansion team needs. A guy who's so versatile, you can use him a whole bunch of different ways. Third base and center field. Well, center field will be the position to replace Lemon. At third base, they have Alan Gallagher. So I would say Kenny makes the most sense of all the cards I've seen, and Dave Roberts. Byron Brown. This is a good DH kind of player because he's got power and walks against lefties and righties. Byron Brown, 226 and 53 at bats. Look at that, 1 homer, and he's got power both ways. Yeah, right. Okay. Jim Qualls. No. Jose Arcia. Versatile. B Steeler. No. Well, I'm thinking, Roberts Kenny is a start. At least I see a path to this team. Roberts, Kenny, you know, at least I think Portland will be better than Las Vegas because they're going to trade Burp Y11, so that's going to help. And they have a couple guys here that'll help, Dave Roberts and Jerry Kenny. So there you go. That's the summary of the National League Mountain Division belonging to Colorado Rockies and Arizona Diamondbacks for the foreseeable future. That's it tonight. We'll see you again next time.